As of 2015, nearly 37 million people are currently living with HIV. However, only 18.2 million people are accessing antiretroviral therapy. That year, there were 2.1 million new HIV infections among adults, and 1.1 million people died of AIDS-related illnesses.
"95, 95, 95. 95% of people living with HIV knowing their status, 95% of people who know their status on treatment, and 95% of people on treatment with suppressed viral loads. 200,000 new infections among adults per year. Zero discrimination against people living with HIV/AIDS.
The UN AIDS Prevention Gap Report lists 5 preventative strategies to combat HIV/AIDS. Empowering women, focusing on key populations such as sex workers, men who have sex with men, injection drug users, transgender individuals, and migrants. Strengthening condom provision programs, voluntary male circumcision, and pre-exposure prophylaxis.
With this in mind, we developed a project to determine current Duke perceptions of HIV/AIDS in our world today. Over the course of 1 week, students engaged with an interactive wall in a central location on our campus, West Union, to express their thoughts on what a world without HIV/AIDS would look like.
If you're talking about outside the U.S., in Asia or sub-Saharan Africa, it's a big change in women's lives because it is a woman's disease, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa. So it means not fear of HIV from trying to avoid a beating from your partner. It means not afraid of HIV while trying to give birth to a healthy baby. It's going to have the biggest impact there. It's also going to allow economies to thrive because HIV is taking away the productive segment of society, 20 to 40 or so. So a lot of the development gains that countries were going through and they were striving for have been reversed by HIV, so will really allow incredible economic flourishing. Fixed. There's drugs. It's chronic disease. You'll see pictures if you're on a subway in Manhattan or somewhere, you see, how to manage your illness the way it's like diabetes. And I think they are shocked when they find out people in the United States die of AIDS. I know they've been shocked to find out North Carolina certainly used to have one of the longest waiting lists for people to get medicines, that there are drugs that can keep you alive and have you have that 80-year lifespan, and there are people in the U.S. who can't afford them. I think they're shocked that people get thrown out of their apartments when their landlord finds out they're HIV positive or lose their jobs. It's become very much a subterranean disease. It's not on the headlines anymore. There's not the tumultuous activism about it anymore. Got a pill, you're fine. And that's problematic and allowing it to resurge in some communities.
Actually, I don't want to say this in a nice way, because I think it's kind of, because it's very othering. It's kind of people who are engaged in really bad sexual behavior. I don't know what that bad is. They have failed to protect themselves. They are people who are not like me. I guess maybe that's the biggest thing, is this othering, that those people who are positive are not people who are like me, even though I may be going out and having unprotected sex on Saturday night, but I'm not like that person who got infected. I think there's a continuum, but I think it is the rare student who comes to Duke who hasn't, at this point, kind of othered people who are HIV positive. And I think that was not true 10 years ago when kind of everyone was very afraid of HIV, and so everyone in high school was being told, you're at risk, you're at risk, you're at risk. And now it's just, we don't need to worry about this. So I think you go from the minor to I am going to sit down and watch this documentary or do this thing to I'm going to be active and get out in the community and work with people. There may be opportunities, particularly if people are living in cities, to join AIDS support groups. I was just trying to think as I was talking whether there was anything like that in Durham. There is in DC, that there can be allies groups, kind of that, that's what it's called, but support that you can then help out.
I would guess anywhere from 20 to 50.
I don't think it's ever going to be solved. How do we think we're going to solve an epidemic of an issue where we don't even have a treatment for? And of course there's some other diseases such as polio where we have vaccines for, and it still hasn't been eradicated, but it's on the verge of being eradicated. But something like HIV and AIDS, I think we'll just keep on going. And so we might actually solve the epidemic in the US, or we might solve it in a developed nation, but we definitely will not solve it on a global scale. And I think that's where we need to start focusing on.
I'd say probably 15 to 20 years.
Don't give up.